Great, thank you. So hi everyone, I'm Jessie Baines. I am the Chief Marketing Officer here at Atlantic Sea Farms. We are a women-run, mission-driven seaweed aquaculture company based in Biddeford, Maine. And you can go ahead to the next slide, Bree. We work with partner farmers all up and down the coast of the Gulf of Maine to grow seaweed in their off season from fishing. Our mission is based on two problem statements. One, that the Gulf of Maine is warming faster than almost any other body of water in the world. And two, that almost all of the seaweed that we eat in the United States is coming from overseas. So we see that as an opportunity. And as we continue to grow the market for seaweed here in the US through programs like what I'm about to share with you, we're getting an increasingly excited number of fishermen, primarily lobster fishermen here in Maine, looking to diversify into seaweed aquaculture to build resiliency in our coastal communities as we all face down climate change. And it's proving to be a really great model for them and an increasingly good model for us as a company as well. So building a market on behalf of our partner farmers it encompasses a lot of what we do. The model that we work from is that we have a nursery here at Atlantic Sea Farms. We grow all of the seed for our partner farmers for free. It's best in class seed that we then they either pick up or we deliver to them at the beginning of the season. We provide them technical support and leasing support throughout the year. And then we guarantee purchase of every pound of seaweed that they grow at harvest. And that model is really based on the idea that we want to mitigate as much risk as possible for our partner farmers so that they can focus on what they're good at, which is farming seaweed. And so to grow the market for seaweed in Maine, primarily, fresh frozen seaweed, which is something that most people are not used to working with. Everyone's working with dried. We have to do a lot of educating. Whether you're talking about educating consumers on shelf with our products that are available in grocery stores across the country, or you're talking to chefs and culinary directors at universities or corporate dining or restaurants, fine dining, fast casuals, all of those things that we exist in all of those spaces. We are constantly working with chefs to figure out the best ways to incorporate seaweed into their menus. And so with this monies, we really focused on that goal of really increasing the awareness of the availability of domestic seaweed in the United States, as well as what to do with it and how to incorporate it at scale in campus dining. So the Kelp in the Kitchen program originally was intended to be stationed right here at our facility in Biddeford. And I'll talk about challenges later, but due to supply chain disruptions, we weren't really able to break ground on a kitchen as early as we were hoping. So what we did was we went out into the field and we took our experience with cooking seaweed directly to the programs who we were hoping to implement them. So you can go ahead to the next slide, Bree. So what we were able to do is visit colleges and universities all over the country and do cooking demos, both with the culinary directors and teams, but also with the students. And it was really important to us to not only talk to the kitchen, but also to the students, because the students are the ones who are driving the demand for change in their culinary programs. They're spending a lot of money, and their families are spending a lot of money on feeding them and some of these dining programs are just absolutely astounding. And the food that they're providing their students is really shifting focus in a lot of ways. It's very focused on climate. It's very focused on health and nutrition. And so seaweed, as you all know, fits very squarely into both of those buckets. And so we were able to come to the table with options for the culinary director team to hit some sustainability goals that they may be charged with in their own programming, but also that the students are really asking for. This generation of college students is more climate minded than any previous generation, as we know. So speaking to them right there at their campus, where they're already in learning mode, their brains are turned on for new information, was a really valuable way to continue to grow the impact and the sales and therefore impact of our company for our partner farmers. So we were able to hit a lot of different schools, and it showed. And now you can find our seaweed on the menu at every campus dining program in Maine, which we're very proud of. But in addition to that, since the program started, we've added Vanderbilt, Boston College, Harvard, Bowdoin, which is in Maine, University of Maryland, Georgia Tech, and then also the corresponding distributors and restaurant groups, which is so important. I think a lot of people think you can just talk about seaweed and it magically makes its way to the end consumer. There are a lot of steps in between, and through this program we were really able to focus on also the logistics and the partnerships required in the distributor level to grow our impact on behalf of our partner farmers and get that seaweed from Maine all the way down to Georgia Tech. We're exploring Texas, California, all of these different campuses all over the country. And being able to kind of meet people right there was actually a benefit that we weren't expecting. To be able to go to the campus itself was originally thought of as a challenge, but then it became an opportunity very quickly by being able to work directly with the students as well. So you can go to the next slide, Bree. So yeah, as I kind of mentioned, those challenges, we are looking forward to having a kitchen here at our facility in Biddeford in the future, and we're working on breaking ground on that soon. And we hope to have updates for you all on that front as the time kind of moves on and the kitchen is built out. But the goal of that is to really have some really interesting seaweed innovations developed right here in partnership with local chefs, bringing chefs in from all over the country, registered dietitians, all of those people in that space to figure out more ways for fresh domestic seaweed to land on more plates across the country. And we're planning on doing that right here. But because we couldn't do it in the short term that we had, we went out to the world and brought this idea out to others. And I think that opportunity is not something that we would have been able to activate without this money. So we're really grateful that we were able to get on the road and be in person and bring our story to campuses all over the country. And with that, I'm happy to answer more questions, whether it's about our social environmental mission, whether it's about this program specifically, and how that all kind of corresponds, with our communications efforts and things like that. All of that was very much wrapped into this grant, and we spent a lot of time and energy thinking about how best to communicate everything that we do as a vertically integrated company, which can be very, long-winded, into a short period of time and really capture the attention of students and campus dining directors. And so I know that will continue to that effort will continue to reverberate as our campus dining program continues to gain ground. All right, and are there any questions?
Thank you, Jessie. Anyone that has any questions can type them into the chat, or they feel free to unmute yourself. It's been really great to see this all come to fruition for your company and see some seaweed related recipes and things come through. So Marcy Cockrell is asking, what sector are the fishers coming from in your program?
Yeah, so we primarily work with fishers from Casco Bay all the way up to Eastport here in Maine. Currently, we have 30 partner farmers, and that list is growing list. They're more than a list. It's really a community. We work very collaboratively, but that community is really growing quickly. We have, I don't know how many in the queue. It's quite a few of people who are all coming to us to learn how to farm seaweed. But I should say also, to expand upon that, this is really a proof of concept. Maine is leading right now in this idea that fishers can diversify into seaweed aquaculture in their off seasons, but it's not just Maine. We can be exploring this opportunity in coastal communities all over the country and world.
Just a follow-up from Marcy is, can you speak to what sectors? Was it ground fish? I think you mentioned lobster.
Oh, I'm sorry, sectors. Yes, of course. It's almost all lobster fishermen, Marcy, sorry. But we do have one ground fish operator and one mooring company, and we have two family-run mussel aquaculturists as well in our community of partner farmers. But almost all lobster fishermen, primarily, I think 27 of the 30 come from a lobster fishing background.
Any other questions from folks?
And I'll drop my